Did you find my fingerprints on a bike or something? Is there any information like that coming back on me?
At 20 years old, Sierah Joughin goes missing in a dark field in Delta, Ohio. But what really happened to her? Can the police find her alive, or are they going to find her buried body? If you want to know exactly what happened to her, stick around until the end, because I tell you what happened to Sierra on that mysterious night in the cornfield. In July 2016, 20-year-old Sierah Joughin spent the afternoon with her boyfriend, Josh Kolosinski. At sunset, Sierra decided to return to her home. Well, unfortunately, this trip was one that Sierra would never complete. His boyfriend, Josh, sent Sierra several text messages and called her, but he had not heard back. After hours and hours, Josh Kolosinski decided to call her family to see if she had arrived home safely.
I just called to know if Sierra have arrived home.
But the mysterious truth is that no one had seen or spoken with Sierra after she left Josh. They knew something was wrong, so they decided to call the police. So, the police began searching the last place Sierra had been seen, in a cornfield along County Road 6. After several hours of searching and investigating, close to the midnight, as the officers were driving around the quiet roads, an officer saw something on County Road 6. He saw some corn had been knocked down. What they found only filled them with dread. In a cornfield along County Road 6, Sierra's bicycle was found abandoned and covered in the blood stains on the handlebars and the seat. They found one of Sierra's socks around the bicycle and also a bloody screwdriver, earbuds, some fuses, a pair of men's sunglasses, a motorcycle helmet, and also motorcycle tracks in the field. Although it wasn't much to go on, these odd findings did help point officers in the direction of a potential suspect. Josh Kolosinski was not the only person to see and speak with Sierra, but he also rode a motorcycle. About Josh, he had a good alibi for that hours. Sheriff's office and the FBI began going door to door hoping to find someone who had any relevant information. With enough luck and determination, they just might be able to find Sierra alive. But one of the neighbors was James Worley. What's interesting here is that Jim was once arrested and imprisoned for the illegal cultivation of marijuana plants. James Worley explained to them that he had been out riding his motorcycle the day Sierra went missing. He never saw Sierra or anybody who might want to hurt her. Everything was normal until Jim mentioned something that catches the investigators' attention.
I pushed my bike into the cornfield because the end rows are open. It's 500 pounds. You can't just take that thing through the goddamn cornfield. I was in my head thinking, I'm going to ditch this thing, but there's these bikes here.
As he claimed to have seen 2 bicycles when he was in the cornfield, investigators had only found one. Had someone returned to the scene of the crime to collect their bike after Jim had left?
I'm right there, and I'm over boiling, and I look across the wheat field. I don't see no kids or nothing. There's nobody on the road. I didn't see anybody.
Okay.
And I thought, man, I'm gonna stick my bike in here and I'm gonna walk home.
Yeah.
Problem is, I can't walk. I couldn't make it down to that stop sign and back because the sciatic nerve. Then I made it home here about 10 o'clock. So, I need some water.
There is no denying that Jim is odd, but he's giving the investigators some interesting information that might point them in the direction of the kidnapper. Investigators prepare to make their way to Nick's house for another round of questioning. But the more he talks, they begin to suspect that there might be something more. He also did mention that he lost his helmet, fuses, and a screwdriver and his glasses on that area. The twist is that Jim told investigators that he had briefly stopped by the suspected abduction scene. So, their suspicion grows as they hear that the items found at the abduction scene, which didn't belong to Sierra, all belonged to Jim. Jim repeatedly asked the police to search his home during his statements. Jim's sudden aggression seems to come out of nowhere.
So are you really hitting every house up and down?
Yep.
Or did you find my fingerprints on a bike or something? Is there any information like that coming back on me?
It seems that he believes if he cooperates with the police, they may not doubt him at all. Police decided to go search other houses. However, as the evidence from the suspected abduction scene gets processed, disturbing information is discovered that forces investigators to go back to Jim's house a few hours later for another round of questioning.
What about the helmet? You found a helmet?
Yes.
Okay, where's the helmet at? Who had it?
Well, I didn't find it, but someone did.
Well, bring it on here, because I want my helmet back.
Well, that's why we're here mostly, is because the helmet looks like it might have some blood on it.
No.
Jim denies everything. Is it possible that, as they talk with Jim, Sierra might be somewhere else on the property captured and is scared for her life? After a couple of times that James asked the police to search his home to clear his name, this time with the discovery of the bloody helmet, the investigator decides to search his property. And everything started from here. They begin to notice red flags as they enter into his bar. They found lots of creepy stuff like adult diapers and pads, bandages, women's underwear, and the list goes on. Also, his barn was full of dead flies and smelled like bleach. That sounds like something was dead in there, and he wanted to remove the evidence with the bleach and the ammonia. As they searched the area, they noticed a creepy area in the back of the barn that James hasn't shown them. What could be there? Sierra's body? Is it possible that the bodies of the other girls are there too? Could the flies have been attracted to the area for some other reason? Well, what they discover is shocking to say at least, and more than a little unsettling.
That's what I was just going to ask. I'm going back. It's a wood chuck hole. Not moving this.
So we went from
weird.
a really good
Where he raked it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And there's a shaft in there, and he's got plastic clear bags with like panties or socks, and he has girl things.
Really?
When they asked James to explain why this box is in a dusty barn filled with women's underwear with the name girl on it, his exact word was, "This is not strange, and if you think this is strange, that's you in your head." He also said that he gives it out when he go out with people. But the strange part in here is every time that police find evidence, he tells them that if he wanted to hide it, he could have done a whole lot better than that. In addition to those undergarments, the police discovered a space in the barn floor covered with straw. But what was the space for? Is it possible that Sierra had been held there until she bled to death? Or by opening the space, they would come face to face with Sierra's remains? Before we discuss what actually happened to Sierra on her last hours, and if you found the video enjoyable up to this point, please like this video to support us. After the police cleared the straw from that area, they noticed a refrigerator buried in the ground that has been heavily cleaned with ammonia, and it's empty. Well, you tell me, does it not seem strange for someone to bury a refrigerator in the ground?
Dude, that's my dope stash spot. I grow weed, I smoke weed, that's it. I don't buy.
No one's going to go to that much trouble in 2016 where there's no weed in it.
You know? Maybe in a couple of months there would have been.
When a CSI cadaver dog alerted on it, they convinced that the human body has potentially been stored in the freezer for some time. Everything about that room was odd and smelled like bleach. Police also found a bloody pink underwear, bloody oat mattress, and blood stains on his motorcycle. Addition to all zip ties, hair, dried blood, duct tape, a ski mask, and a pepper spray were all found in James' truck. His truck also had been sprayed with ammonia and bleach in some areas, and as a result, the carpet had been damaged. They also found some strange keyword searches on his computer, such as hitchhiker, hostage, gag, and helpless. Evidence processing continued throughout his property. Although James never confessed to being involved in Sierra's disappearance, the police were confident that he was their prime suspect. But what happened to Sierra? Do you think she was still alive? And if not, where was Sierra's body? Well, a search team found Sierra shallowly buried in a field a few miles away from James' property. She was found in an awful condition. It sounds like in her last moment of life, she was bound behind her back with her arms and legs. The murderer put some sort of object that looked like a dog toy in her mouth and watched as she choked to death. At the time of her death, she'd been wearing a lacy white cloth top and an adult diaper. Sierra also had external wounds, including laceration to her forehead and a contusion on her leg. It was determined that she died due to asphyxiation caused by the overly large gag. But the real question is, why was James so prepared? The reason James was so prepared is that this wasn't his first time. In 1990, a 20-year-old named Robin Gardner faced the same fate, but she was lucky and managed to escape. The police arrested James at the time, but he denied everything and served 2 years. Do you think there were only 2 girls? Is it possible that there were other girls who may have suffered the same fate? And if you don't think so, please write your opinion in the comments for me. At the end, he was found guilty by a jury and sentenced to execution on May 20th, 2025.
Discovered the fate of the abducted girl. Justice served. Now brace yourself for our next chapter.
So, as I said, I've murdered someone actually.
Witness the chilling case of a boy's cold-blooded act, ending his own mother's life. Join us in this dark case.
You hit her with a hammer.
First, I tried to strangle her, but that didn't work.
The case that made the police shocked and horrified to the core as they interned the crime scene. Dive into darkness with us. Stay